So we're here with Connected Car magazine at the Consumer Electronics Show 2019 and we're just outside the North Hall, which has really become the home of automotive technology at the CES show. Over the last few years it's been slowly growing and now what we're seeing is a whole hall dedicated towards automotive and technology. We're also seeing some difference from the big manufacturers as to what they're actually exhibiting. Mercedes here have launched their CLA at the show, but also a big focus for them is some of the other new mobility concepts and demonstrating that the OEMs are actually moving towards mobility companies and not just car companies. So it's really easy to see all of the big announcements made by some of the bigger players. But what's really interesting to see is to go around some of the smaller halls and some of the smaller exhibits and see some of the sort of technology that the main players will be exhibiting in future years. One of the big trends we've been seeing over the last few years is autonomous driving, and this year's no exception with some of the new business models that are starting to be utilised by some of the application and service provider companies, making it even easier for autonomous vehicle companies to provide new and innovative services to their consumers. Here Technologies have a massive stand over in the Central Plaza and they're showcasing some of their innovative mapping technologies and also some of the social tools allowing consumers to come together when they're using autonomous and mobility services. This year there seems to be a lot of focus on not just one-to-one mobility platforms, but also mass transportation. Companies like Panasonic are showcasing their autonomous platforms, autonomous and electric drive chains that allow interconnectivity and different modules to be added to support different types of mobility services, from commercial through to mass transport through to one-to-one. A number of other exhibitors have also been showcasing a number of autonomous pod designs and concepts. One of the really interesting differences that we've seen this year compared to last year is the introduction of different forms of transportation, like this Bell Nexus. Furion are also here for the first time, showcasing their consumer goods and an enormous boat. There's also a lot of hardware providers here, providing products which are making autonomous driving easier. Systems like solid-state LiDAR seem to be making quite a big impact this year. The next big area of innovation that we're seeing is in the in-car entertainment and the in-vehicle infotainment systems. It's now pretty commonplace to see absolutely huge displays like the 49-inch side-to-side display they have in the Byton concept. Alongside these larger displays, there's also more emphasis on what people other than the driver are going to be doing inside the vehicle. Back-screen entertainment and other passenger entertainment systems are becoming more important. Along with better supporting the passengers, there's also an emphasis on BYD, or bring your own device. Services and products which allow the passengers to connect their devices to the in-vehicle systems. Google also has a massive presence here at CES 19, and we're also seeing a lot of uptake of Android and embedded Android in the IVI systems. It seems to be really commonplace now for a lot of the cluster and IVI systems to be including Android as some component in that software stack. Finally, around in-vehicle infotainment is voice assistants, and we're not seeing quite as many innovations around voice assistants as we saw last year. Of course, all of the big players are here. We've got Google with the Google Assistant and Alexa Auto, which have huge offerings here at the show, but perhaps we're not seeing quite as much of a big bang as the announcements that we saw last year. Another noticeable difference this year at CES 19 is the growing number of Chinese, Taiwanese and Korean companies, especially in force in the new design and source area. The next big innovation that I've seen a lot of here this year is the in-vehicle monitoring and the ability for sensors to pick up lots of different types of information from the passenger and the driver of the system. These driver and passenger monitoring systems can even take state like the passenger's emotional state into play, and we see that Kia have a big stand here demonstrating what their emotional driving assistant looks like. This is something that could be really interesting to the work that we do at Conjure, where we start to take more information from the drivers and passengers and tailor what the in-vehicle infotainment system looks like and how that's presented to the passengers and the driver. What we've seen this year at CES 19 is even more blurring between the lines of automotive technology and consumer technology, more of that being brought into the vehicle and also the vehicle being more integrated into the world around us. Things like smart cities, which now have their own hall dedicated to exhibitors, showcasing their solutions and products around smart cities and IoT. Once again, it's been a truly fascinating show with lots of really interesting things to see, and I'm sure that there's going to be a great number of new innovations between now and CES 2020.